Balitaan sa Rembrandt, October 24, 2014. Bisita sina Yusek Butch Cunha at Pete Ilagan upang bigyang linaw ang katotohanan tungkol sa DOE, ERC at EPIRA.
Ang loss kasi, it's technical loss, which is the line loss na natural pagtakbo ng kuryente sa kawad, ng kuryente sa kawad o sa line, mayroon talaga mawawala dyan. That's the natural line loss. Technical loss yun. Yung non-technical, ito yung filterage na considered din as system loss na nire-recover sa atin. Ang nakakapagsaka lang sa system loss na sinisingil sa atin ng Meralco na at present is about 7.2 or 7%. Ikinakarga din pati sa generation cost. Yun ang masakit. Kasi kung susundan natin ang konsepto ng system loss na line loss, paano magkakaroon ng line loss sa loob ng planta kung saan generate pa lang ang kuryente? Kaya kung tignan ninyo yung bill nyo, ang 7.2% is applied to your total bill, kung saan nakapaloob pati yung generation cost, which is normally 55 or 60% of your total cost. So mayroon ka ng distortion ng 7.2% of 55% of your total cost. If you follow the logic na technical loss is line loss, how can there be line loss in the generation plan? Pangalawang punto dyan, tinanong namin sa hearing yung witness ng Meralco. Kasi naka-itemize yan, may naka-itemize na system loss. And at any given time, maaaring depende sa consumption mo, it can be 5 pesos or 6 pesos or even higher. Tinanong namin kung yung system loss na yan ay chargeable to other cost components. Halimbawa, the generation component, sinong generation company ang nag-incur ng loss na yan, kailan mo ibinayad at magkano mo ibinayad. Under the concept that generation cost is a pass-through cost at hindi dapat na iiwan sa bulsa ng Meralco, dapat yung generation cost component ng system loss ay ma-identify nila sino yung generation company na nag-incur ng loss, magkano yung loss at paano nila binayaran to be able to account for the 7.2% system loss component ng kanilang bill. Hanggang ngayon po, it's a blank wall. We have not received any plausible explanation tungkol dyan. And that is only one aspect ng system loss. There used to be another component ng system loss na ang tawag po own-use electricity. Yung own-use electricity, pag binuksan, sinindihan yung Christmas tree na napakalaki ng Meralco, tayo nagbabayad doon, yun ang tinatawag na own-use electricity. Noong time na nasa system loss yan, pinestyon yan because it does not reflect efficiency. So anong ginawa ng ERC at sa Meralco? Sinabi nila, wala na yung own-use electricity. Yun pala, wala sa system loss, ikinarga sa operating expense. So mayroon pa rin sila own-use electricity sa operating expense. So maski na magdamagan yung aircon at saka kuryente at saka ilaw sa kanilang branches, wala silang problema. Own-use electricity yun, tayo nagbabayad.
Yung allowance, company. Di ba meron ng allowance yun for system loss na 10%?
Normally, ang function ng price negotiation nila with the generation company, that should already be considered or incorporated into the negotiation. In other words, yung sukat ng Metro sa X-Plan, sa paglabas ng generation company, at saka yung sukat ng Metro doon sa pagtanggap within the distribution system, kasi dadaan yan sa high voltage, doon mo makikita kung ano dapat ang loss. Kung halimbawa, 1,000 megawatts ang lumabas sa planta, ang natanggap doon sa distribution network, point of delivery ng Meralco, is 950 megawatts. That means ang loss mo is 50 megawatts. But for heaven's sake, bakit yung 1,000 megawatts na yun ay kakargahan mo ng 7.2% as a system loss nung nasa loob pa yan ng planta. That is why, ang sinasabi ng Meralco, kami efficient, 7.2% system loss lang kami. That is deceptive. Alam mo kung bakit? It is against the whole cost ng electricity. If they want to show efficiency, the system loss peso component, measure it in percentage against the distribution cost. Because that is where the line is situated, and that is where the line loss should occur. If you measure it against the distribution cost, it is anywhere between 28 and 35%. So how can the distribution company be efficient in terms of system loss if it is at 28 to 33%? Remember, under the anti-pilferage law, that used to be 9%, and it has been retrogressively been degraded to the level now of about 7.2%. But 7.2% is measured against the whole amount that you pay. It also covers, includes the generation cost. It is not purely distribution. If it is purely distribution, it is going to be anywhere between 28 to 33%.
Masyado kang Jojo Borja, kasi
Iligan.
nung Iligan. Ngayon, yan yung tumakalaban sa argumento sa ERC, hindi pinapansin. Wala yung kanyang simbas yan. Anyway, ang sabi niya, ang kanilang planta sa Iligan, may metro yan eh, galing sa generation company, di ba? May metro din sila. Kasi galing sa kanila, papunta sa mga bahay-bahay, may metro din, di ba? Ngayon, yung dapat nilang i-remit doon sa generation company, may sobra. May sobra. Ibig sabihin parang palusot ba? By the tune of mga 14 million. 14 million. So nagtataka siya. Sabi niya, bakit sobra ito? Ito lang yung pumasok sa amin, bakit ito yung kailangan namin simulin?
May kumikita.
So ibig sabihin, may magic na ginagawa dito sa generation company. Ngayon gusto niya ibalik noon yung sa NAPO 4, ayaw tanggapin. Ayaw yun na informasyon ngayon tungkol sa mga.
Actually, si Jojo Borja, nakakasama-sama namin yan sa pag-u-oppose sa mga Meralco application. At si Jojo Borja belongs to the Borja family that owns the Iligan Light, private distribution utility ito. But I think he is a maverick director, although he's a member of the family. Yung case na yan, a little bit of familiarity ko dyan is, ang nangyari dyan, Napocor ang nagsusupply sa Iligan, there is a discrepancy between doon sa nabubok ng Iligan na kuha nila na power at saka nabook ng NPC na na-deliver na power. The gray area is what happened to the difference. At naging subject yan ng ERC case ni Jojo Borja saying na dapat yung difference na yun ibigay sa mga tao. Ang sinasabi ni Mr. Borja, ang pinagtataka niya, ang pakay or objective ng kanyang application is a refund na solely sa mga customers ng Iligan Light yung naging discrepancy sa payment. Sabi niya, bakit ayaw aksyonan ng ERC ang petition that will be favorable to the consumers? That's why si Mr. Borja has some big issues with the Energy Regulatory Commission.
This portion is brought to you by
Ultra Pure Water Purifier. Samantala sa inyong lahat na gusto ng malinis na tubig, direkta sa inyong mga gripo, narito na ang Ultra Pure Water Purifier. Matipid na, garantisadong malinis na tubig ang hatid pa.
Yung sinasabing power shortage, ito gray area sa sinasabi ni DOE Petilla. So talaga meron ba talagang power shortage? Dahil marami nagsasabi nga sa akin na wala namang ganun eh. So, hindi maliwanag eh.
Maganda yung tanong sa akin kanina nung nag-interview eh. Kung meron daw dito ng Yasiko. Dahil ang posisyon ng Yasiko, sinasabi natin na unang-una, yung magkakaloob ng otoridad sa Presidente ay ang Kongreso. At ang Kongreso po, lalo-lalo na yung Joint Congressional Power Commission, yan po inatasan na suriin kung ano ang takbo ng IPIRA upang sila po ay gumawa ng rekomendasyon either executive or legislative measure sa Presidente. Yung tinatanong po natin na hard data, sila po ang unang dapat ito maglabas mula sa pag-ugnayan nila sa Department of Energy. Kung hindi po natin makita yan, kaya sinisimulan po natin hingin ang mga data sa pinakamalaking distribution utilities. At sunod po natin susulatan ay ang sumusunod na malalaki, katulad ng Cebu Electric Corporation at ng Davao Light. Dahil itong mga sumusunod na malaki ang kanilang prangkisa, malaki ang kanilang pangailangan sa kuryente. Bakit natin sinusulatan ang Meralco? Sapagkat gaya po ng DOE, ang mandato po ng DOE ay pinapasa sa kanila sapagkat sila itong direkto na may relasyon sa atin na kumukonsumo ng kuryente. Kaya dapat nating malaman yung kinontrata nila na kapasidad sa kuryente kung ito nga ay sapat doon sa kanilang demand upang masiguro natin na ginampanan nila yung kanilang mandato na hindi magkaroon ng power outage. Yun, yung mga data na makukuha natin sa mga distribution utilities, ang siyang magpapakita kung totoo nang meron tayong dapat na pangambahan na pagkukulang ng kuryente sa darating na taon. So itong mga data na to ang dapat magsalita kung magkakaroon nga ng dapat tayo ng pangamba, kung meron bang threat, meron bang imminent, o meron bang looming power shortage.
Yung kung totoo bang mayroong power crisis, right now that's the $64 question. And the closest that you get to a reliable answer to that, itong pinakahuling pagdinig ng Energy Committee ng Lower House, kung saan unfortunately wala yung Secretary of Energy, but yung mga subalterns niya who were there, nagtali more or less yung kanilang energy outlook with the National Grid Corporation. Alam nyo, ang talagang the institution or the guys who really have the finger on the supply ng power is the National Grid Corporation kasi sila yung system operator. On a daily basis and on a even an annual basis, mayroon silang power outlook or power projection na nasa website nila. Ang lumabas doon sa House hearing, ang deficiency, ang shortfall, is only 30 to 31 megawatts. And more or less, nag-agree yung Department of Energy sa sinabi ng NGCP. Pangalawa, the 30 to 31 megawatt shortfall will only occur 4 hours a day. At saka, yung number of days is only 14 days. So, kung verify nga ho, kung tama yung sabi doon sa House hearing na yon, eh napakalayo ho doon sa sinabi ng Department of Energy. And if you go through the flip-flopping of the Department of Energy from the first time that there were hints of a looming power crisis, makikita niyo ho, una, sabi ni Secretary Pitilla, wala ho, we have stable power supply, we have no problem. At some point, he said it's going to be 300 megawatts. At another point, he said it's 600 megawatts. On an extreme point, he said it's 1,400 megawatts. So, napaka-moving target at saka napakadami ho ng flip-flopping ng Department of Energy. Noong tinatanong siya na bakit 1,400 megawatts, ano sabi ni Secretary Pitilla? Kasi ho, kailangan natin ng research. So we started talking about ancillary services. Eh sa kuryente ho, ang pinag-uusapan nyo dyan, the base load, the peak load, and the ancillary services. He could be right when he says kailangan natin ng 640 megawatts for the ancillary services because that is really the spinning reserve that you should have. In fact, in a forum last September 30, tinanong ko si Secretary Pitilla because he was talking about ancillary services. Sabi ko, sir, are you saying that we don't have ancillary services? He flatly said, no, wala tayo. So my next question was, we are being charged 13 centavos for ancillary services per kilowatt hour. Where does it go? Second, it is in the franchise of NGCP as a system operator that they should maintain and make sure that we have ancillary services. If they don't have those reserves, then it is failing on its franchise. Then it is time for Congress to revisit and recall that franchise for their failure to comply with it. Wala ho siyang maisagot. Anyway, hindi naman ako si Chairman Umali ng House who can compel him to answer. but I left that question hanging in the forum and answered by the Secretary of Energy. Actually, the short answer to the situation that we are in right now, this is all the fault of the Department of Energy. Kung sinasabi po ng Department of Energy that we need additional power, it only means they don't even understand the powers that they have under Section 37 of the IPIRA, the Power Reform Law. Under Section 37 of the Power Reform Law, the Department of Energy is given the mandate to ensure the quality, reliability, security of supply of electricity. Tatlo po yun. Quality, reliability, and supply of electricity. You will wonder, in the statement of policies of EPIRA, ang nakalagay, the state will ensure the quality, reliability, supply, and affordability of electricity. Sa statement of principles, may affordability. Why is affordability dropped in the mandate of DOE? Because affordability is the mandate of ERC. It's not a mandate of DOE. But DOE cannot run away from its mandate and obligation and duty to manage the generation supply sector. If we are in a pickle as far as generation is concerned, the guy to hang is the Department of Energy. They failed on their mandate, they failed miserably, they don't even seem to understand what their mandate is.
This portion is brought to you by
Elmost Whitening Soap. Narito na sa gustong pumuti at gumanda. Ito ang kasagutan sa problema mo, kapatid. Elmost Whitening Soap sa murang halaga, kutis artista ka na.
Isa pang problema dyan, naglalagay tayo ng cabinet secretary na hindi expert sa line na yan eh.
Alam mo, Eric, ang nakakapagtaka. Here is the Energy Committee saying, we will give the President emergency powers for ILP. That's the Interruptible Load Program. For heaven's sake, that is already possible under Section 37. What does Section 37 say? The mandate of DOE. DOE shall set the policies to give incentives for investments in the power sector. DOE can provide sanctions and benefits for going into an energy conservation program. ILP, my friends, is not a generation solution. It is a demand-side management solution. Section 71, that is being invoked by the House Energy Committee, says the government can go into new generation capacity and sign it up as in the exercise of emergency power as an exception to Section 47 of EPIRA. What is Section 47? Section 47 is the privatization of NPC. And it says NPC will divest all its generation assets and will not go into generation anymore. But hedging that divestment, the law further said, well, if you have a looming power crisis, and by the way, the looming power crisis should have a factual basis. And the factual determination should be made by the President. That is what Section 71 says. And Section 71 further says, as an exception to Section 47, implied exception to Section 47, the government can go into new generation to address the looming power crisis. But look at it. After EPIRA had given the DOE the mandate to manage the generation sector via incentives, policies, and even sanctions as far as energy conservation is concerned, here is now DOE waving the flag of panic saying, hey, wala tayong generation, forgetting the fact that generation is its primary responsibility, and asking for emergency powers which it does not even need if it only understands what Section 37 empowers it to do.
Okay. I'll get back to you. Ang ganda na. But anyway, sa ganitong klaseng problema na lahat ng tumaas, walang ibinaba. Ganun eh. Katulad ng paglugoyo sa atin, binaba raw yung gasolina, tapos biglang tumaas na naman. Pagtaas eh, mas mataas pa sa, vicious cycle na eh. Panahon pa ni Cory, ganyan ang ginagawa eh. Meron ba tayong pag-asa?
mahirap na nung wala pang IPIRA dahil hindi natin naiintindihan yung presyo ng kuryente. Pero nung wala pang IPIRA, noong 1998, ako po at saka isang kababayan, nag-file sa Energy Regulatory Board ng rate reduction. Kasi noon, nire-reklamo namin yung taas ng presyo ng kuryente. Nag-file kami noong 1998 ng 62 centavos rate reduction. Yung kalaman ko noon, malayo sa kalaman ko noon. Ngayon. Pero nanalo kami. Napababa namin ng 41%. Kaya nag-interest yung boots niya sa akin. Napababa namin. Ang kulang lang po rito, kulang po nang nagpa-file sa ERC ng pagpababa ng presyo ng kuryente. Kailangan marami po ang mag-file ng pagpababa ng presyo ng kuryente. Hindi naman po kailangan pupunta agad tayo sa Korte Supreme. Ang ginawa lang namin noon, kinausap namin yung mga Rotary Club, yung mga lending cooperative, sila po ang tumulong sa amin. Pamasahe, papunta mula Tacloban, pamasahe, papunta rito. Merong nag-voluntaryong abogado na kung gagraduate lamang. Sabi sa akin, Manupit, isulat mo lang lahat yung alam mo akong gagawa ng motion. Napahiya yung mga 7 abogadong matatanda. Nanalo po kami, 41 centavos. Kaya po, yun ang nakita ng industriya sa amin. Kaya, ayun, nag-interest po sa amin. Pinalis kami ng Amerika. Pina-observan yung restructuring sa Amerika sa amin. Kaya, mas marami na tayong natutunan. Kung marami po magpa-file na consumers sa ERC, laban sa ating respective ng mga distribution utilities, makikita po natin kung ano po ang power ng mga consumers.
Masyado na tayong nalalansin, no? Masyado na mahaba. We have to get our act together.